Hello, my name is Eddie Hendrix, and I'm here today to talk to you about Access database migrations. This is going to be a part of a short series I'm going to do on database migrations in general. Um, I think Access migrations is something that has become a necessary evil of most organizations just due to the fact of the ease of use and probably the spread of those throughout your organizations. Microsoft has come up with a couple tools to help you accomplish this fairly easily, which is what I'm going to try to show you today. The tools that we have available from us are all free of charge, whether you want to do analysis on current databases to see how things are, or actually do the migration itself. Today we're going to focus on the SQL Server Migration Assistant, and I'll walk you through that here today. The SQL Server Migration Assistant is fairly easy to get. Just go to your favorite search engine and type in SQL Server Migration Assistant, and it should be one of the first things that pops up. Now, the migration assistant we're going to talk about today is for Microsoft Access, but we have tools for Oracle and many other competitive products in the market today. Simply go to the site, you can read through the documentation, and download the tool yourself. I'm going to go ahead and open up the tool right now and walk you through a migration. So it's a desktop tool that you download to wherever you'd like to have it running from, and it walks you through some of the steps. It has a wizard. You can get rid of the wizard if you'd like, but for this example, I think it's good to go. You can name your project whatever you'd like and save it for future use. And you can look at the different things you'd like to migrate to. So you can migrate from Access to SQL Server 2008 up to 2017 and to Microsoft Azure SQL Database, which is what we're going to do today. From here, I'll click Next. Now it's going to ask me to go out and find my actual databases. So I can search throughout my organization to try to find those. I know that I have one here. I'll use my AdventureWorks database. And from here, it's actually going to go out and do some interrogation of the database itself. You can see all these different things I have out there. If I have any tables or queries associated with that, I can migrate all those. One of the things that most people want to note is the fact that, hey, if I have an Access database, maybe it's not just data, it has some forms. If you wait just a second, I'll show you how we can take care of that as well. As you can see here, it lists all my different tables associated with it. And from here, we can go through and actually take a look at that. So I'm going to be moving mine to Azure SQL. So I'm going to connect out to one of my Azure SQL database instances that I already had created. And it's saying, hey, I don't actually have that database that exists out there today. If I had a shell of a database, I could use that. But from here, it's actually going to go ahead and create that shell of a database for me. I could pick the size I'd like from basic, standard to premium. I'll just pick a basic database here today, and we'll let that go out and create my database for me. From there, it's created my database. Now what it's actually asking is, do I want to move my data completely to Azure, or would I like to continue to link those tables back to my original application? So this is beneficial if you do have applications or forms that you've created within Access. This gives you the way to move your data out and put it safely in Azure, but still maintain those applications on-prem. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I would like to link my tables. So from here, it's going to start to do some analysis. It's going to take a look at my database. It's going to check those objects and make sure that everything is compatible with moving out to Azure. It does this all for you. You really don't have to do anything specific here. It's going to walk through several different steps. In the essence of time, I'm not going to have you watch this. I'm going to pause our recording until we get through this process. We do have some information here where it says, hey, I don't see any of my databases that are currently created out there. Do we want to move them out there and maintain those same names? If I wanted to change the names or modify any of this here, I could do it from here. If everything looks okay, I just click OK and it continues on. So it's migrating that all out to the cloud for us. We'll take a look back over at Management Studio. As I've connected into my Azure SQL database here, you can see I don't have any databases that are actually located on this server. I have one legacy guy. But this is the landing spot for where we're going to put our new system. As you can see, it has created our new database for us and it's starting to move data out there. So we'll keep a watch on this guy. Some of these tables are a little bit larger, and hopefully we'll be done here in just a moment. So at this point, it's actually going to want to go out and create those linked tables for me. So it wants me to re-input my password because this is going to be the credentials it's going to use to make that connection from the Access database out to the new Azure SQL database. And with that, our process is complete. The data has been moved out to Azure. We've created all our database objects and created our tables. So let's go back and take a look and see what we have now. If I come back here and take a look at my Azure database, I see all of my tables should be in there, containing the data that we expect. Looks like we're in there. And if I go back into my actual AdventureWorks database, you can see it still does exist. And because I had some forms in there, we can still use this. So if I go back in here now and I go back out to my it's going to ask me to connect out to my data source because that's where my data actually resides now. You can see here I still have my data, still actively query it. So I didn't break my Access database. I simply migrated the data out to Azure. So now it's backed up, it's maintained, it's patched, it's all going to be persistent, and now we're using Access just for the front end layer that it was meant for. So we took the SQL Server Migration Assistant and we used that tool to migrate our Access database to Azure. It took about 9.5 minutes, I think, with my pauses in there for you guys. We were able to move that Access database over there. Like I said, it'll work with DB2, MySQL, Oracle, and several other tools. So depending on what you're looking for, it could be there. That's all I have for today. Look at my next presentation in this series is going to be the actual using the Database Migration Assistant. Thank you.